Alright, here is a transmission out of my Camaro. It's a Richmond 6-speed, and it's one that's made for the third generation Camaro. This is an 87 IROC, and it originally had a Borg Warner T5 in it. And I blew up that transmission just drag racing it, and ended up getting this one from Richmond. I've had it for about 15 years, and it's done good for me. It's behind a 383 small block in this, which puts out about 425 horsepower. But the transmission works good for a 6th gear. I got this one with a lower 1st gear, and they have different ratios on here, but you can see by this last 2 letters, AA, designates a gear ratio for it. So this one, it has a 6 gears overdrive, but you can get some of them where it has a double overdrive for 5th and 6th. This is the shifter it comes with. It's a long shifter, but this bolts on right here. Whoop. And that comes through the floorboard of the car and perfectly puts it into where the hole is, where the original shifter is. Just a little trimming on it, as these parts back here, these right here, they hit some of the sheet metal, so you have to trim it out a little bit. Let's see if I can show you. So this is how much I had to trim it out to get it to fit. So this went maybe about right like there. So you had to trim it out there to get it in there. And on a regular Borg Warner T5, it has internal shift rods. This one has these external shift rods. So when you get the transmission in there, these bolt on to here, and then that hooks up to the shifter right there. It hooks into these rods right here. So kind of like that. And that's what lets you shift the gears. So you can kind of see how those go. And it goes onto these 3 posts for the forward gears, and this one's for the reverse. Now the one for the 3rd gen, it has the one for the torque arm. So that's the mount that goes on there. Came with the transmission kit. And what you get is a transmission, the shift linkage. It does come with a shifter. I got that on the workbench here. Comes with the shifter that just goes on there when it's in the car, and the rods. Now this one I pulled out because when I was getting the transmission in there, the fork I got in there, I got this just a little cockeyed in there. What I'm guessing, because once I started it up and I was trying to get it to go into gear, it wouldn't go into gear, and I thought maybe I needed to rebleed the slave cylinder, but it turned out not. When I looked in the inspection hole, I could see where this wasn't right there on the right pivot point. So I took the transmission out, and you can see right there, it was just off a little, and it bent the throwout bearing. So I have a new throwout bearing. I'm going to throw it back in there, hopefully get it right this time and get it going. But it's been a really good transmission. When I got it, there was the Tremec version on it, which I was kind of 50-50 for one way or the other. But my dad worked for the company that owned Richmond, Regal Beloit, and so I got a good deal on it. But I think if I had to do it over again, I would maybe do a Tremec, just since they seem so much more popular now. You don't see a lot of these used, but it is still a really good transmission. I've had 0 issues with it. So if you were looking for one, I would say pros are it is a good transmission, and I haven't had any problems with it. The only cons I can think is it seems like the Tremec ones are rated so much higher for horsepower, which might be nice. These are rated for, I think, 450 horsepower. So if you go any higher, I don't know if you would have problems, but it seems like there's plenty of parts for it to get through Richmond, and the company has really good reputation, so I'm sure they'd stand behind it. But that's about it. If you guys have any questions about it, leave me a comment and I'll answer them the best I can. And have a good one.